B328 will be buying 15 separate sheets for the
Amen.
Brother Oliver's organization. Appreciate that, Brother Oliver. I heard about a priest and a taxi driver. They both died, went to heaven. St. Peter was at the pearly gates waiting for them, and he said, "Come with me." To the taxi driver, and the taxi driver did as he was told, followed St. Peter to a mansion. Everything he could imagine, bowling alley, Olympic-sized pool. Oh my word, thank you, to the taxi driver. Next, St. Peter led a priest to a rough neighborhood, an old shack, a set of broken down bunk beds, and a black and white television set. "Wait, I think you have a little mix-up here," said the priest. "Shouldn't you have given me the mansion? After all, I was a priest, went to church every day. I preached God's word." "Yes," said St. Peter. He said, "but during your sermons, people slept, talked, wrote notes, didn't really pay attention. When the taxi driver drove, everybody prayed." So, today we're talking about Palm Sunday and the fulfillment of prophecy in Isaiah chapter 62, verse 11, and Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9. Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey. The crowds lined the streets, shouting, "Hosanna, blessed be he that comes in the name of the Lord." Then placed palm branches and robes in front of Jesus. This was particularly disturbing to the religious leaders who were jealous of Jesus. They demanded that Jesus silence the crowd, but he responded, and this was great what he said. He responded, "Even if the crowd be silenced, the stones would cry out." The events of the next week would forever change the world. Jesus entered in Jerusalem, and the crowd welcomed him as a king, but by the week's end, they were demanding his death. His followers abandoned him in fear. None of those close followers who really understood the events of Palm Sunday and Holy Week, they never really understood it until Jesus came, until Jesus returned after 3 days. They had all expected Jesus to be the earthly king, but God had given them something so much better, an open door into the kingdom that would never end. When Jesus came in on that day, it was a very, very special day.
Right.
He didn't come in, though, as the Jews would have liked. He was on a borrowed donkey.
Right.
And they wanted him to come, they would have liked him to come in on something like maybe a ginormous elephant or something more than a borrowed donkey. But they still, those that loved him, and obviously there were some there that had been, that had received the miracles that Jesus had done, had seen the miracles that Jesus had done. They respected him, and they put down the palm leaves so that he wouldn't have to walk upon the ground. And they put down their coats. But today I want us to look at 3 things quickly here. And the first thing is Jesus came to deliver the people. The Bible says in Luke chapter 19, verse 10, "For the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which was lost." Us. Those of that day. Those of the past, those of the future, and us today. In 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 18, "The Son of Man shall deliver me from every evil work, and will preserve me unto his heavenly kingdom, to whom be glory forever and ever. Amen." Jesus came so that we would know life, and we would know eternal life. The main reason that Jesus came was to give people hope. Hope of eternal life in heaven. Hope of that today will be better than the next day. You can live, I told you before, you can live 70 days without food, 5 days without water, 4.5 minutes without air, but you can't live 2 seconds without hope. You have to have hope. Jesus is our hope of a better life when we make it to heaven. Jesus is going to be the one. Maybe he's going to be at the gate. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be St. Peter. Maybe I don't know who's going to be there. But when, you know what? When he says, "Enter in, thou good and faithful servant," we're going to be glad that we had hope in Him. Jesus promised us that before the world began that we'd have hope in Titus chapter 1 and verse 2. And we know that Jesus cannot lie. God cannot lie. It's funny how people in the day that we live in are glad of Him, especially when they have things that they need. And we look to Him for those things. He was the one that fixes their problems. People don't like to talk about problems anymore. They've kind of candy-coated it a little bit and said, we have issues. Because problems are so negative, but now we have issues. We have things in our life that you just don't understand. We can't really serve God like we should, but we really want to. The ones that had things in their lives that were keeping them frustrated, depressed, and anxious are the ones that need Jesus. Kind of like people today. There's a medication for everything. If you're feeling a little bit anxious, they give you some medicine to relax you. If you're feeling a little bit too relaxed, they give you a little bit of medicine to give you, maybe a shot of, B12 to kind of give you some energy. They have something for everything, something for everyone. And, I'm glad that they have that. But there's all kinds of people that need Jesus today. And I think people have good intentions of doing what's right and following God, but for some reason they get off track. I made a statement last Wednesday night, and I don't want you to misunderstand that statement. I said that, that we should read our Bible and we should pray. But I wasn't trying to preach a healthy, wealthy, and wise, make a healthy, wealthy, and wise statement. We're still going to have problems in our life. We're still going to have issues, because that's just life. The Bible says that the rain will fall on the just and the unjust. But you know what? I believe if we read our Bible, we will get closer to God. I believe if we have a prayer life, that we'll come into, whenever I pray and whenever I come down and pray, I would like to enter in, as the prophet did, into the very sanctuary where Jesus is. And really feel His presence. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get distracted of the things that are just going through my mind and thinking about, what I'm going to say in the message, and just people and situations. But I still feel it's important. Not for show like the scribes and Pharisees did, but because I need it, and I need myself to go to God in prayer. Well, Jesus came to deliver those people and us today. Jesus came, and as I said, not as a lot of the Jews would have wanted Him to come, but nevertheless He did come. Well, number 2, by the end of the week, they demanded His death. The Bible says in John chapter 19 and verse 6, we went through this in our Sunday school class this morning, when the chief priests, therefore, and the officers saw Him. These are some of the dignitaries that were running the thing, and they were in control. When they saw Him, they say, "Crucify Him! Crucify Him!" These were some priests that had a little bit too much, I think, because they were going to try to crucify Jesus. Pilate said to them, "Take ye Him and crucify Him, for I find no fault in this man." I made the statement this morning, maybe Pilate didn't have a spine. And we had a good discussion this morning. Well, maybe he was just afraid he would lose his job. And you know what? Have you ever been in a crowd? It always starts, I thought about it this morning when we were talking. You've been in a Dodger game, and somebody will bring out a beach ball that they've smuggled in. Obviously, it was deflated when they smuggled it in, because they'll take it away from you at the gate, and they start bouncing it. And before long, even though everybody in there knows that if one of the guys in the little coats get it, they're going to pop it, and all the fun's going to be over. But they still bring it. And everybody bounces it. Or maybe somebody over here, they start to wave, and then you just follow suit. You know what that is? That's basically the mob mentality. That's the crowd's mentality. We just follow suit. We just do what everybody else is doing just because everybody else is doing it. I would imagine some of those people were yelling, "Crucify Him," because everybody else was doing it. Who are we going to crucify? I have no idea. Just yell with us. Just yell, "Crucify Him, crucify Him." Well, there's got to be somebody here. Well, we don't know. We don't know. It's somebody his name's Jesus. We don't know anything about him. But you know what? They want him to crucify him, so let's just get behind the crowd and crucify him. And you've seen that before. You've seen that before. When two people start fighting, everybody they make a ring automatically goes into place. Fight, 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 fight. You know, it's crazy. That's exactly what was going on this very day. They were saying, crucify him. Even some of them probably that had been healed by him, that had been touched and seen the miracle, maybe they kind of slipped back to the back, you know, thinking, well, he healed my blindness, or maybe Lazarus was standing there thinking, he kind of been backing up. Maybe some of the others that had gotten something from him were kind of backing out of the crowd because they, even though it would be easy to follow right into the crowd and start yelling these things, but what if somebody knows me and they know that I was healed of leprosy, or that he cast the demons out of me, and I'm standing with this mob and saying to crucify this very man that delivered me. Oh, what a hypocrite I would be. But you know what? So many times in life, we find ourselves following the crowd. We find ourselves doing what's easy. I think, I don't know, whenever I see it or I hear about it or seen it on TV, I just get fighting mad. I may even get a bat and start dipping people in the head. Shut your mouth. You don't know what you're doing. I mean, that wouldn't be right. I'd do it in God. I'd do it with the love of God. I'm telling you, but that just frustrates me. I'm thinking, this very man that even Pilate and Herod, they could find nothing wrong with him. They could not find nothing wrong with him. And they said, I don't know what to do. And it was kind of a frustrating deal, kind of scared. And I don't want to lose my cushy job here, as a politician or whatever, look at it as a priest, a king, whatever. I don't want to mess up, and this is what the people want, so let's give them what they want. Well, they were demanding his death by the end of the week. Yes, I think most of the people have good intentions of doing what's right. Why does it seem that when the smoke clears, the problem is over, they don't seem to need him anymore? Why is that? Why is it that when Jesus had healed the sick and the lame, people and fixed their problems, aka issues, they no longer needed him? Why is it when he fixes our problem, when we're facing perhaps court, perhaps prison, whatever, a loss of a job, whatever, a loss of a relationship, and then God fixes it, and we no longer need Him? Why is that? I don't understand that. I like that song, I Need Thee Every Hour. Amen. Because you know what? If we're really honest with ourselves, we do. We need Him every hour of every day because of the things that we see and the things we have to live with and the things we have to go through. Right. You say, well, do you ever get frustrated, Pastor? Yes, I do. I get frustrated. I try, I do what I know that I'm supposed to do, but sometimes I do it out of frustration. Thinking, you know what, here I go again. And you know what, is it going to help this time? Are they going to figure it out this time? The Bible says in Genesis chapter 6 and verse 3, and the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for he is also flesh. And his days shall be 120 years. Proverbs chapter 1 verse 26 says, and I also will laugh at your calamity, and I will mock when your fear cometh. Proverbs chapter 29 verse 1. And he that being often reproved, hardened his neck, shall suddenly be destroyed, now without remedy. Shall suddenly be destroyed, now without remedy. I know what you're thinking. If you had been there, you wouldn't have wanted to see him die, but yet the crowd was. And maybe some of the crowd was your friends. Maybe some of the crowd was your family. Maybe they just didn't understand what they were facing. Maybe they were confused. And yes, there were a lot of people there that were confused. But I'm thinking, you know what? The crowd that laid down the branches, and the crowd that laid down the coats, and the crowd that were there lining the streets, I don't think that crowd was with this crowd crying, "Crucify him." I think there was a lot of maybe people that didn't understand, maybe some people that were maybe on the edge of ignorance, and they were just there and doing this and yelling this because everybody else was doing it. My dad used to say, if everybody else jumped off a cliff, would you do it? Well, no, that's silly. But you know what? These people that were standing here crying, "Crucify him," didn't really know him. They didn't really understand what they were doing.
That's right.
As soon as you quit serving him mentally, you maybe fit into the same criteria as the crowd. Are you serving him like you should? If you had to stand before him today, would he be pleased to see you? Or would he say, "I don't think I know you"? When you lay out of church for no reason at all, have you slipped into that bad crowd saying, "Crucify him" mentally? When you're not reading your Bible and you're not praying, are you mentally giving up on him? Don't expect Jesus to use him like an insurance policy. Use him just when you need him, and then when you don't need him, you never think about him. How many times, Brother Danny mentioned this, and I thought about this, how many times during the week does God look out for you? Melissa and I were sitting on F Street. You got the eastbound, westbound traffic, and you got eastbound traffic. And it was when we used to carpool. For fear of her life, we no longer carpool. But we were sitting there that day, and I just had so many things going through my mind and thinking about things. And this was before being a pastor. Now I have more things going through my life. But anyways, I was sitting there, and as the eastbound light changed, and I'm sitting at the westbound light, at 24th, 23rd Street. As that light changed to green, I went. And then I said, "What is that guy thinking?" He almost hit me. Because the westbound lanes, well, I was facing a red light, but I looked at those lights. And it was just by the hand of God that guy, he almost, I'm telling you, if she would have reached out, if she'd have been laying on the hood, she could have touched that passenger door of that SUV that was going through the intersection. And she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "What am I doing? What's that guy doing? He just, as I drove through, went through a green light." She said, "What are you thinking?" I said, "I have no idea." I said, "See that light up there?" "Yeah." I said, "Oh, it's green." She said, "But that's not for us." I know that. But I was thinking, how many times has God delivered me? And we don't even think about it. Driving down Roosevelt Highway, just minding my own business before they get all tore up, and I hate to go down it now, but anyways, eventually they'll finish it 2 or 3 years from now. But I was driving down it, and I was driving kind of slow, and there's this brand new Mercedes next to me, he kind of got ahead of me, and all of a sudden, bam! This guy driving with his knees, talking on a cell phone, writing down a note. They were into the brand, and it still had the license plate, from the dealership. Bam! And I about had a heart attack. It sounded like an explosion. I just looked and I thought, and the guy went, "Oh." Like, what did I just do? I thought, well, you just lost your house. And God only knows what else you own this guy's going to take from you. Brand new car. I don't know, about $60,000. I don't know how much it costs. They're really expensive. I'll never have one, so I don't go and look and see the prices. But I'm just saying, how many times does God save us? Back here, they're working on, I don't know what they're doing back there. But as I dropped off Abby for school this last week, I went to turn and go down to Larry. My windshield was kind of damp. The sun hit it. I couldn't see. I almost wiped out a guy standing there directing traffic and his truck. I looked at my rearview mirror and the guy was like, oh no. And I stopped and I said, man, I am so sorry. My windshield was wet. The sun hit it. I didn't see you. Are you okay? He said, yeah, I think I am. And I almost, I mean, I guess I may have pushed him up to his truck to where I was almost running into him. I'm thinking, how many times does God watch over us? And then I was thinking, how many times was God watching over those people that were in that crowd that we held crucified? I don't know what's going on here. It's probably best that I don't. My mother, she can't hear. She can't hear how well she speaks because she has the headphones on. Let's go to number 3. Sure you will. Number 3. The followers cowered in fear. John chapter 7, verse 13. Howbeit no man spake openly for him for fear of the Jews. John chapter 19, verse 38. After this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Jesus, but secretly, for fear of the Jews, besought Pilate that he might take away the body of Jesus. And Pilate gave it unto him. He cometh, therefore, and took the body. You know who else was with him? And then the next verse isn't there. Nicodemus was there with him. And people say, well, Nicodemus left when he talked to Jesus quietly by night. He left and it didn't say he got saved. But you know what? I don't know. I can't say that he did. But he came with Joseph of Arimathea and prepared the body of Jesus. John chapter 20, verse 19. And in that same day at evening, being the first day of the week, when the doors were shut, where the disciples were assembled for fear of the Jews, Jesus came and stood in the midst and said unto them, peace be unto you. Now I have an Easter message for next week, but the thing I want to give to you is the same reason we don't witness is because of fear. 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 4, for God hath not given you the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. How do a lot of things affect us because of fear? Sometimes we hide our Christianity, sometimes we hide our Bible, sometimes we hide our testimony. How many of us have had to go through what Jesus went through that day? How many times have we set our Christianity aside to do something that we know we shouldn't do? Knowing well and good it's wrong, but we still do it. How many times did Jesus tell them to stop because it was uncomfortable for him? No, he didn't. What is it going to take to get you serious about serving the same God that we're talking about this morning? What is it going to take to get you to put God first in your life? The Bible tells us in 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that is not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17, pray without ceasing. Prayer is mentioned 310 times in the Bible. Do you think God thought it was important? And then, oh man, this is going to be a rough one, paying our tithes. Malachi chapter 3 and verse 8, will a man rob God? Yet ye have robbed me but you say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. If you're not paying your tithes, you're robbing God. I didn't say it, the Bible did. Right. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 10, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revelers, nor exhorters shall enter into the kingdom of God. When it's all said and done, all of us one day are going to face God. Luke chapter 14 and verse 23, and the Lord said unto the servant, go into the highways and the hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. Jesus talked about reading your Bible, praying, paying your tithes, and witnessing. And so many times we get along in that, we get over here with that other crowd saying, crucify him, crucify him. By mentally shutting him off. By mentally not doing anything other than just going through the motions. I'm telling you, God has been so good to me and my family. Have we faced some bad times, some hard times? Yes. Has there been too much month at the end of the money? Sometimes it seemed like it. But God always took care of us. God's always taken care of us. Well, in conclusion today, I need you to do something. I need to do something to motivate you. I need to beg God to motivate you to follow His will. Don't allow the devil to frustrate you, but sometimes it happens. You know I'm here because I know that God wants me here, and I'm here for you. When the devil tempts me to get lazy and complain to myself, or maybe I want to give up on some people, I think, you know what? Jesus never gave up on me. Jesus never said, this is too much, God, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I've changed my mind. I thank Him every day that He did do that. But you know what? When sometimes it seems like things are just not going good, I think of you. I think of you and how God can use me to help you. Maybe in a small, sometimes it seems other than insignificant way. I think of the position that God has put me in. I think of the position that God put Jesus in as His only begotten Son. Let's stand together today.